Hi there, this is Ronnie Amber's Night coming at you with a video, and it's another quick review of a couple of games. And today's games are, in no particular order, Dungeon Raiders and Final Lap. Um, what connects these two games? Well, these two games are connected by the fact that they are both owned by me, are both card games. Um, they're both what you would call filler games, um, and I played them both over the weekend for the first time. Um, yes, I know, as connecting tissues between two games go, that's extremely tenuous, but forgive me for that one. We'll start with Final Lap. This was created via a Kickstarter, um, and it is a card game simulating a Formula One race. It is for, well, technically 1 to 6 players. I haven't actually looked at 1 to 6. There are two versions of the game in here. There is the basic game, and then there is the advanced game. You can also play essentially a season over a number of races, with the players getting points based on the position. Each player gets 2 cars of the same colour, but with different coloured helmets on their drivers, and this is important. One's a kind of bluey black, and the other one's red. They pick their colour, then all 12, regardless of how many players are playing, all 12 cars are shuffled, and they're laid out in a line from first place to 12. Now, we didn't actually have enough table space to put all 12 cars in one row, so we ended up doing it like a Formula One grid, with the first car and then second place being just behind and to the right, and then third place being just behind and to the left of second place, so they were immediately behind first, and so on. So we managed to straddle it down to get the 12 places. And you put a little red marker called a pit stop marker onto each. And each player is given 7 cards. Starting with a person who is either in pole position or is closest to first place, and going around clockwise, you each can do one of two things. You can either play one of your cards, and the cards can do various things. They can put you forward, make other people go backwards, and so on, cause smashes and so on, cause all kinds of crashes and fantastic bits of passing and manoeuvring and so on. Or you can choose to take a pit stop. Choose one of your cards, one of your cards in your hand, discard it, don't do what it says, and you can remove one of the pit stop markers at the end. After the 7 turns, you'll have no more cards in your hand. Any cards that still have pit stop markers on them are removed from the game. They are assumed to have run out of fuel because they didn't make a pit stop. Then whoever is in first place, or whoever is ahead, furthest ahead, is declared the winner. Wonderfully simple game. I'm sure there will be purists out there who will claim that it is too simple. But this is a filler game. It's not designed to be some huge strategic game. This isn't Formula Day, or Formula Day, whichever way you want to pronounce it. This is a simple, fast game. Components are quite simple, and I enjoyed it. We played a couple of games of it, and we enjoyed it thoroughly. It took about 10 minutes each game. It's not one that you would sit down and play for a very long time, I don't think, unless you were actually doing a championship race. If you are doing a championship race, then you get points, very similar to the Formula One points, 10 points for first place, something like 6 or 7 points for second place and down the line. I think it's very good. I think if you can find it, it's well worth having. And look out for it. It is actually a fun little game. If you're looking for something light, it's well worth having. And then we got on to Dungeon Raiders. It says here that this is from 2013 by Passport Game Studios and Homo Ludicus Games. This is a card game which, funnily enough, is simulating a dungeon raid. Each of the players, it plays from, the technical game is 2 to 5. There's slightly different rules for a 2-player game. You're each given a character. The character has a certain amount of health to start with, a certain amount of gold, and may or may not have specialist items. The dungeon cards, there are 30 of them in total. And these contain trap rooms, treasure rooms, monster rooms, and so on. And you shuffle the deck through, you take out 6 cards, and they're not used at all. You then flip the top 12 cards over so they're face up, and then you shuffle them in. There are 5 door cards. So you take a door card, you take the first top 5 cards, and you place the door on top of it, and that's level 1. And you do the same for level 2, level 3, level 4. Level 5, as you'll notice from quick calculation, will only have 4 cards. This is because there are a series of boss monsters, end of level monsters, which have a green back on them. You shuffle that card through, you take one randomly, you don't get to look at it, and you put it at the bottom of that 5th level. So it's the last card that people come up against. At the beginning of the turn, each player is given their items. They're also given a set of cards with numbers 1 through 5 on them. The first level is then laid out, top to bottom, left to right. Some of the rooms you'll be able to see what's in those rooms, and some of the rooms you won't be able to see. If you have particular items like a torch, you can have a quick sneak peek at the rooms. But you go through each room and you play a card secretly from your hand of 1 to 5. You play a card. When everyone has played a card, you flip them over simultaneously so you can reveal what you've played. And depending on what you've played, you may get a certain amount of treasure, you may get a certain item from a vault, you may avoid or may get hit by a trap, and so on. And you go through the game. If you fail to defeat a monster, the person who's played the lowest card, for example, receives a certain amount of damage, which they take off their health. And you wander through the dungeon until there's either only one person standing, or if there's more than one at the end of the game, especially if there's more than 2, it's slightly different with 2 players. If there's more than 2 left, then the person with the lowest amount of wounds dies, even if they're not dead yet. They automatically die of their wounds, and it's the person with the most treasure that wins the game. Do I like this game? I love it. We played a quick game of it yesterday, and I have to say I absolutely fell for it. It's insanely quick. Very, very quick game. I would say that the 2-player variant would be an interesting game, but it wouldn't be enough really for a good game. I think you really need 3, 4, or the top end of 5 for a really good game of Dungeon Raiders. Failing that, I think a two-player game is okay, but I think you run the risk of someone dying in the dungeon very quickly, rather than both of you getting to the end. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would. If you can find it, go for it. It's great. Wonderful wee game. Again, it's a filler game. It's a very quick game. It's not one that I would recommend if you're looking for some sort of deep, dark game. Then I would say go get something else. But those are my reviews. I would recommend both games highly. They're good fun, they're quick, very easy to learn, very easy to teach, and they're good for all ages. I mean, Final Lap says ages 11 plus. You gotta be joking. It's not that complicated, really. I mean, Dungeon Raiders is 8 plus. I consider Dungeon Raiders and Final Lap to be fairly equal in complexity. So what applies to one can apply to the other quite quickly. So yeah, if you can find them reasonably priced, and you're looking for something quick as a quick filler game, I would recommend either Final Lap or Dungeon Raiders quite happily. So that's the end of my review, and I'll be back soon with another video.